Next on Worcester News tonight, family and friends hold a vigil for a 16-year-old who was shot and killed in a Worcester neighborhood. Plus, the Worcester Sports Complex receiving money for some much-needed renovations. We begin tonight in Worcester. Police are investigating the city's first homicide of the year. Good evening, I'm Anna Botari. Worcester police say 16-year-old Sidney Crow Jr. was shot and killed in the area of Holland Street Saturday night. Monday, members of the community held a vigil to remember the teen. Our Cam JANDROW was there tonight. He joins us now live with the details. Cam?
Anna, no arrests have been made, and there is still very little information on this case at the time. But tonight, dozens went to Crystal Park here in Worcester to pay tribute to the 16-year-old who was gunned down Saturday night, and now his family is looking for answers.
Sidney was a good kid. He was always good with everybody. He was not gang related whatsoever.
Naja Crow remembers her brother at a vigil Monday, just days after his death. 16-year-old Sidney Crow was shot and killed in Worcester late Saturday, leaving his family members with questions.
I just don't understand, why it happened. It didn't have to happen. If anything, it could have been settled out in a different way. The gun was not necessary.
When you have such a good kid that, don't get involved in nonsense, you just can't figure it out.
Police say Crow and a group of friends were walking near Holland Road when a number of gunshots were fired. Crow was later pronounced dead at an area hospital. Jean Chavis is a family friend. She says Crow's death comes as a shock.
I believe it was just a random act of violence. A lot of young people, they have no consideration for life.
The Worcester resident was a student at the Gerald Creamer Center. Loved ones filled University Park with lit candles and photos to pay tribute to their fallen friend.
He was like a friend to everybody, so nice to everybody, so it just came out here for that.
He always had a smile on his face, and he was a goofy kid, make everybody laugh.
One of a kind kid. He did anything for his friends, any and everything.
That was my best friend. He had a lot of hopes in him, he was a smart kid,
Now the family has set up a GoFundMe page in order to pay for funeral expenses. Right now, they're hoping to raise $10,000. Anna?
Thanks, Cam. Crow's death is the first firearm homicide in the city since 2016. And tonight, local law enforcement is asking for help. Worcester police asking anyone in the area of Main and Holland Street Saturday to come forward if they saw or heard anything. The department says a man was seen getting into a small vehicle before driving off erratically. Sergeant Kerry Hazelhurst says the department is looking at the case from all angles.
We have so little information with the suspect in the vehicle seen driving away erratically. We have very little information other than that. So because of that, we're not taking anything off the table yet. We're not ruling anything out. We're still just trying to determine the circumstances leading up to the shooting.
Anyone with any information is asked to contact the Worcester Police Department. A grocery store clerk shot a man who police say was attempting to rob the store and threatening a customer. According to police, 26-year-old Juan Ahorio walked into the no-name grocery 2 on Vernon Street Saturday night. He placed a knife around a female customer's neck. After the female had escaped, the clerk fired 3 rounds at him. Ahorio suffered non-life-threatening injuries and is charged with assault and battery with a dangerous weapon with intent to rob. Police took away the clerk's handgun and his license to carry. They say they're still investigating and more charges could follow. Improvements to Worcester's Public Library, Senior Center, and the DCU Center are all part of City Manager Edward Augustus's 2019 Capital Improvement Plan. The capital investments total $118.5 million. Improvements include changes to the first floor and main entrance of the Worcester Public Library, roof repairs to the City Hall, and renovations to the DCU Center and Worcester Senior Center. The plan will also focus around the city's parks, parking lots, and roads. The manager will present his plan in front of the City Council Tuesday night. A donation from the parent company of Commerce Bank will help pay for renovations to a historic Worcester sports complex. The bank donated $500,000 to Commerce Bank Field at Foley Stadium. It was built in 1927 and was last renovated in 2007. The city will replace the current turf as well as resurface and restripe the track. City Manager Edward Augustus is asking the City Council to accept the donation. The Telegram reports if it's approved, the city will match the donation with a $600,000 investment. Parades and ceremonies being held all across central Massachusetts Monday to honor those who served our country but never returned. Worcester holding their annual Memorial Day celebration at Hope Cemetery this morning. Our Rosalind Flaherty has the story.
Gold Star mother Margaret SETARO keeps her son Richard close to her heart on Memorial Day. Richard died during a training mission over Korea in 1994.
Richard died doing what he loved. He truly loved being a pararescueman.
Richard was 23 years old. His mother says Memorial Day is a time to honor and be proud of the service men and women who didn't make it home.
Just to remember that what they did do for us, and a lot of people don't remember that.
Dozens gathered at Hope Cemetery for the 131st Memorial Day Observance Remembrance Ceremony.
No sacrifice should go in vain.
Honoring those who gave their life for this country.
Phil MADIO served during Vietnam and says he's seen the sacrifice up close. Several of his friends are buried in Hope Cemetery.
Some of my best friends died. Then when I left, some of my best friends died too. After I left in October, they got attacked. In November, they got ambushed.
He says it's important to keep their names and their stories alive.
If it wasn't for them, we're here in America to do what we want. It's the land of the free, home of the brave.
SETARO has 2 other sons who also serve. She says seeing the support means so much to her.
It's nice to know that so many people celebrate the holiday the way it should be, by coming here and putting flags.
Rosalind Flaherty, Worcester News Tonight.
A crowd also gathered at the Massachusetts Vietnam Veterans Memorial in Worcester to remember the lives lost. A wreath was placed in front of the memorial where the names of more than 1,500 men and 1 woman from Massachusetts who died in combat or remain missing are etched in stone. Mayor Joe Petty says they'll never forget the commitment servicemen and women made.
Our hearts are heavy.
It's good that people do remember the servicemen and women who served their country during the Vietnam era, because when they came back, of course, they were not, in some parts of the country, were not wanted, and this is a good memory for them to come see what we've done. It's a small token, but it's a nice memorial.
It's been 45 years since the last American combat troops left Vietnam. The memorial was dedicated in 2002. Worcester also remembering the lives lost during the Korean War in the early 1950s. A wreath-laying ceremony taking place at the Korean War Monument on Foster Street Monday. Many were in attendance, including several Korean War veterans from central Massachusetts. While serving in Korea in 1951, George Barnes was a first lieutenant and a platoon leader. He says today he's remembering the many friends he lost in war.
Around those bricks are 30 men that were in my company that were killed in 1951. 2 of them were my roommates at Quantico, and then Tom Baldwin went to the engineers because he felt the engineers were a easier thing than the infantry, and he went out to get out mines one day in the road and ran over a mine himself, and he and 7 other Marines were killed.
Barnes says fighting for his country is his greatest honor. His message is for everyone to celebrate Memorial Day because many veterans didn't get to return home to their families. Towns across Worcester County celebrating Memorial Day with annual parades, including Auburn and Holden. Our Chandler Walsh was along the route today and has more.
Memorial Day parades process through the streets of Central Mass towns. In Auburn, Roberta Briggs cheers on the veterans and participants. Briggs has come to the town's parade for most of her life, and as a military wife and mother, it's a meaningful day for her.
I am so proud of them for protecting the United States and the people of the United States.
In Holden, veterans say they're thinking of dear friends who made the ultimate sacrifice many years ago.
He was
was a navigator in the back seat of an RF-4, and we drove him to the airport, and he never came back from Vietnam because his plane crashed.
Al Sculthorpe served in the Navy during the Korean War. Today, he's reminded of his comrades who died and were buried while at sea.
A very moving thing is a funeral at sea, and that's why Memorial Day is especially meaningful to me.
Veterans say it's touching to see their town support and turnout each year, especially from the children. Youth groups marched in both Auburn and Holden's parades.
They begin to realize exactly what this means, so hopefully when they get to those teenage years, it's not about a cookout or hanging out with your best friend. Memorial Day is really about honoring those that made the ultimate sacrifice for our country.
Chandler Walsh, Worcester News Tonight.
Hundreds of plastic ducks taking part in the 16th annual Auburn Duck Race Monday. The event is hosted by the Auburn Junior Women's Club. The first place duck wins $500, and there are various other prizes like Red Sox tickets for the first 20 to cross the finish line. Organizers say the event is getting bigger and bigger every year, and it's great to see the towns supporting each other. The thousands of dollars raised goes towards many different causes in town.
We give 2 $500 scholarships, so that's the next $1,000 that we raise. And then throughout the year, we do different things in the community. Like this year, we did a drive for Dignity Matters. We've done Auburn Youth and Family Services for Christmas gifts. We adopted a family.
It's a little bit that makes a big difference, and that's what we're all about.
The event is held directly after the Memorial Day parade in town. Organizers say it's a great family event with raffles and activities for children.